Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Damontae bringing you a banger. Don't forget to go follow on my Twitch, please. Here you will never miss out on daily Payday content. The best muscle builds in Payday 2. To start it all off, this build gets an instant 4-shot. It has 1-shot armor and then 3-shot HP. Considering that most builds in this game will get around a 3-shot build, a 4-shot natural build already puts muscle above most of the normal builds. You can get a 5-shot build inside of the 607 HP form with the Joker and Crew Chief buff, and with the damage percentage obviously from the Crew Chief, but if you pair something like the Maniac damage absorption, which will now resort to the damage being around the 178-ish area, you can start maybe getting more damage overall in the build, as we just mentioned, 5-shot build. The targeting system allows the player to understand angles that they're getting hit from and you're getting seen from and getting exposed to. This helps you understand what angles that you're getting exposed to so that you can start reacting to it and understanding it. Some people see this part of muscle to be a bad thing, getting targeted is a bad thing, but it is helpful with learning where the cops are, learning where they're going to be shooting you from. This will, go on to other perk decks, this kind of knowledge, because then you'll learn where these angles are, where they're hitting you from, and this will just get much more things to learn. And then on a side note, while you are getting 15% more likely targeted, you can have your teammates make use of this by producing damage to the enemies that are shooting you at that time period, because you can survive it because your muscle, you can just heal straight out of it. Now inside of one of the builds here, we do use the 90 armor heavy ballistic vest. The 90 armor when getting shouted by the painkiller will change to 25 to 31.5, and inside that 90 armor we can get shot 3 times by 225, which will actually equal 94.5 damage, which is making 3-shot armor after a down, which isn't something that you should be sold on in a build, but it is something that you should be knowing that your build has capability of doing. We also have 90 armor for the snipers, because if you have 240 damage minus 90, that equals 150. So if you take 150 damage to the 460, that leaves you with 310 HP. 310 HP is much easier to heal from than, let's say, a little bit less, maybe 280. I've also talked about this on my other muscle video here, which if we take the armor and the HP amount each time and not considering the HP regen on the muscle, we can actually get shot a total of 4 times from a 240 damage sniper, because our damage gets changed into 150, and if you break down all the math, you'll get left with 10 HP, and then that 10 HP can get shot by a sniper 1 more time, and then that's your 4th shot. We do have one build that does yield the 221 ICTV armor set, and with the facts for 10% damage reduction, that'll give us a 2-shot armor build inside the muscle. A 7.5% heal if at a 0 HP value. The amount it takes for you to heal up to full HP would be 13 heals from the hostage taker and the perk deck ability. And within just a 30-second time period, you'll be able to, heal up to 25 HP consistently and be able to survive consistently a 225 shot. And now, I do want to briefly mention that inside of the 22 perk decks video, I did go over a concept called the hits concept, and I also went over a concept which was the armor muscle concept, and I'm going to briefly go over it once again inside this video. So the armor has natural 2-shot armor, right? And you have a 2-second invincibility, and then you have a 15-second cooldown on that. And if you were to tally all these numbers together, you would have a 2-second and about a 2 to 3 second armor regen, and then you'd have a 15-second cooldown. So you're looking currently roughly at about 20 seconds to about 25 seconds of downtime inside the armor build. Now, like the armor build, the muscle on the other hand, you'll have a 1-shot armor consistent, and you'll be able to offer a 1-shot HP consistent. Now that right there is also a 2-shot, consistently, just like the armor is. And now let's look at the downtime on the build. If you were to be down to regen all that HP, 225 damage, that'll roughly take you about 30 seconds to regen, 225 inside the muscle build. And during that 30, second time period, you should have easily gotten an armor regen, so you're looking at about, a 30-second time period of downtime. Now if you're wanting to consider both perk decks again, the armor is looking at about a 20 to 25 second downtime for the armor to come back, assuming you're in a frenzy build or something along those lines, so that you can't risk your HP shot. And then on the muscle, on the other hand, you're down for about 30 seconds, and you're doing the same thing, waiting for your HP to regen, like, downtime. I had asked people in my Discord, and here goes the special thanks for those who actually participated and given, tips for the build. Burkle here had stated that Muscle has the fastest passive regen of health in the game. It fits really well with light armor and crits. It's possible to get 2-shot ICTV with Crew Chief or Quick Fix Aced. I do appreciate it, my friend, and if he does have a YouTube, I'll try to link it in the description. He does have a Twitch, so it will be linked in the description. The first build here is the LMG build. A good LMG gunner is capable of controlling a group with staggering them, knocking them over with enough damage being dealt to the cops so they're rolling around on the ground, killing them, and then coming back to the grounded cops and finishing them off. Doing this will make a difference in your survival when using an LMG. Crowd control with an LMG is really good. You just have to target prioritize, position correctly, and effectively deal, with the cops. You have panic too, so that can stop damage being dealt to you and your teammates, obviously, as long as you're the one shooting constantly at the cops. The secondary I use is the 5.7 pistol, mostly for shields, but it does come in handy for busting dozers through the wall, and it can save your HP from getting damaged. The 5.7 is a solid weapon, it just kinda lacks an ammo pickup, and it's mostly just a tool used in, the shields aspect. When you have 460 HP, pairing it with Hostage Taker for 7.5 HP percentage regen, if you take 225 damage, you will just need to wait roughly 25 to 30 seconds, and then you get 225 HP back. This build is enough for a 4-shot total, build for 225 being considered. And if you can survive 30 seconds inside muscle, you can consistently tank 225 damage. But as an average, you will take an armor shot and then an HP shot, so it's 2 shots as the average, leaving you with enough HP to regen nearly every time. Muscle can play like Kingpin, sort of, if you allow yourself to do some damage and let some damage off of your teammates. If played correctly, you can survive death sentence the whole time and just shrug off damage pretty much from all damage values, as long as you're, using cover and respecting it. Now, let's go over the skills for the build here. I grab Combat Medic in case I do get shouted by painkillers so that my armor gets 3-shot armor. I grabbed myself Hostage Taker, as we had previously mentioned. It gives a 7.5% heal, which is pretty nice inside the muscle build. I grabbed myself Bullseye for aggressive regen and Shock and Awe, and Resilience for the passive regen. I then go for Body Expertise Aced because we're using an LMG and this is our main source of killing. We also grab things like Lock and Load Aced and Surefire. We then grab Unseen Strike so that we have crits to make big damage pools, while also grabbing things like Dire Need so that our armor, when it does break, the next shot will stagger the enemy, and I have enough HP to make sure that it's, a possible thing to do. While also grabbing things like High Value Target. Now I don't grab anything like the Professional because we don't use suppressors in the build. And I want to mention that Optical Illusions for 35% less likely targeting is used in the build, but it doesn't affect the 15% and it doesn't affect the normal targeting. Everything is still persistent. And lastly, we grab Equilibrium because we do have a pistol inside the build. As for the LMG here, we grab the Light Barrel, which is giving us an accuracy stability increase. As for the barrel itself, we grab the Tactical Compensator, which is giving us a 12 accuracy increase. Grab the bipod because why not? As for the boost, I do grab an accuracy increase. And as for the gadgets, I'm using the LED combo for stability. For the 5.7 here, I'm using the tin treated barrel for the accuracy stability increase. As for the barrel, I'm using the IPSC, which is giving me 12 accuracy increase. As for the boost, I'm also using an accuracy increase. As for the gadgets, I'm using the flashlight laser, which is giving me more of just stability. And as for the magazine, go for the extended because why not? And for the sights, I'm using the one that gives me an accuracy increase. Now I did forget to mention at the beginning of the video here the targeting system inside the muscle build. This is a graph that my friend OnlyFans had made for me as I had described it to them, and this is how I'm going to describe it to you guys. You have 50% as the normal targeting system in Payday 2, and it'll be as the follow, it'll just be normal stuff, everything that is normally going to target you, that's how this will, break down. Inside the 15% for the muscle ability, that actually is just a percentage value. It isn't overriding anything, it isn't getting override by anything. So as the example would be with optical illusions, which is less likely targeted by the 35%, it is not overriding the 15% of the targeting. You still have that being considered, you still have the normal targeting system being considered, and you have optical illusions being considered. Now let's get into the sniper build. This build is almost a direct copy of the Kingpin sniper build, which was featured inside of my Kingpin best builds video. This build does come with full crits, so the sniper rifle produces a lot of damage output, plus you're getting easy crowd control ability using the sniper because of the way that Graze works, and if you're positioning yourself correctly, you'll be mowing down whole crowds of enemies. You will mostly play at range with this weapon setup, because the best you can do is just keep yourself away from the enemy so that you're less likely targeted. Now you are really good at medium to far range, but if you can hit your shots at the close range, the sniper is the best weapon to be using. It'll be dropping the groups like crazy. You also have the Deagle pistol as a secondary weapon and having full crits in your build. So your pistol is going to be the dozer killing weapon here. You'll whip it out and you'll be able to just spam fire it because of the massive damage that it has and the having the fire rate that it has as well. It produces massive damage output. Now, let's get into the skills for the build here. I grabbed myself Hostage Taker Ace so that I can constantly have massive HP chunks of regen, while also grabbing a Joker of HP increase. Then I grabbed myself Graze, as we already mentioned, mostly for crowd control abilities. Next we grab ourselves Bullseye, and also grabbing Die Hard Ace so that we can get 20 armor points, so we can use the Light Ballistic Vest, so that we can have enough concealment to make this build work. I grabbed Steady Grip for just the accuracy increase here. Next I grab myself Inner Pockets Ace so that I can conceal the Ballistic Vest, while also grabbing full crits in the build. I'm using no suppressors, so therefore I'm not needing to grab the professional skill. Lastly, I'm grabbing the pistol skill Trigger Happy for massive damage output, and while I'm grabbing that, I'm also grabbing the fire rate increase. As for the sniper here, you're kind of limited what you can use, but you could possibly mess around with the Desert Fox as well. I went for the short barrel, which is giving me concealment increase. For the boost, I went for concealment. As for the gadget, I'm using the compact laser for no statistical change. You can add a secondary sight for more concealment as of the new update. Sights, I went ahead and put the Seymour sight because it's just personal opinion. And as for the stocks, I go for the military stock for the accuracy increase. As for the secondary here, I go for the Deagle pistol. Obviously, you have multiple choices to choose from here. I go for the IPSC for the 12 accuracy increase. I go for the concealment increase. I go for micro laser for no statistical change. For the grip, I'm using the bling grip, which is giving me stability and concealment. For the magazine, you can throw on the extended mag if you can make the concealment work. No sights, no secondary sights. I lied actually, we have the marksman sight. Accuracy, stability increase. No slides. The DMR muscle build. I enjoyed playing this build a lot. Having the DMR for range and the SMG to refill the DMR and use the SMG for close range, it definitely was a great build. While you are using the DMR, you have the one-shot kill ability if you have full crits being triggered, and keep in mind you do have that inside the build. Since we have muscle, we went for the loud guns, but pairing accuracy as well, so that we can hit our shots, but still trigger the panic ability. While the DMR is great for range, if you can hit your shots, it is good for close range fighting as well. But generally, you'll be pulling out your SMG to fight these because it'll be able to shoot more bullets than your DMR can. But we do bring the MP5 SMG secondary, which is great. It brings more of a spam shooting ability to the build, while I tried to increase its stability and accuracy the most. While shooting the MP5, you will trigger panic more often because you'll have a lot more ammo economy and ammo pickup and more of a fire rate with the gun. That's where this all will come from. I enjoy pulling the SMG out to refill the primary DMR, while when you have dozers pushing you, you want to put some distance in between you and the dozer so that you can make the dozer miss some shots on you and for you to be able to deal more damage because of high value target. Plus you'll be putting distance in between you and the enemies, which will ensure that you're targeted less because that's the mechanics of the game. Now, let's get into the skills for the build here. I grabbed myself Combat Medic, getting myself up to upper so that I can have First Aid Kit HP regen. I grabbed myself a Joker, while also grabbing Hostage Taker Ace for big chunks of HP regen constantly. I'm also grabbing Ammo Efficiency since my DMR is single shot. I'm going to be keeping my ammo with this, method here. Next, we grab ourselves Shock and Awe and Resilience for the passive armor regen. Then I grab Bullseye Basic for aggressive armor regen. I grab Die Hard for the extra armor so that I can use a ballistic vest so that I can have low concealment. Next, I grab things like Body Expertise, Surefire, Lock and Load, and Steady Grip inside the Technician skill tree. Then inside the Ghost, I grab Duck and Cover and Inner Pockets Aced so that I can conceal my ballistic vest to make concealment work. Then I grab things like Optical Illusions, Low Blow, High Value Target, and Max Crits, while leaving out things like the Professional because I'm not using suppressors. You have many different DMRs to choose from here, but I went for the Car 4, and I went for the DMR kit obviously. Next I go for the Tactical Compensator, which is giving me an accuracy buff. For the boost I went for the Concealment. As for the custom, I am using a single fire, which is an accuracy increase. Next, I use the competition foregrip, which is giving me a concealment and accuracy and a damage increase. Next, I'm using the LED combo for stability. Next, I'm getting the pro grip for accuracy stability. Then I'm using the thrust lower receiver for the 2 damage increase. Next, I'm using the Speed Pull Mag. You could obviously throw on the 45-degree sight, but this is from the new update, and I have not really done it since, so obviously you can save some concealment here and make something for your build, but I have not. As for sights, I went for Seymour, purely optional. As for the stocks here, I went for the wide stock, which is giving me stability and concealment. And then lastly, I'm using the LW receiver, which is accuracy and stability. And for the secondary SMG here, you have multiple choices for the 40 damage tier, but I'm going to get onto the 60 damage in just a minute because of the magazine. But I went for this muzzle brake for accuracy, stability, -1 concealment, and a damage increase. For the boost, I go for concealment. Foregrip, I'm using the smallest one, which is giving me a +3. As for the gadgets here, I'm using the compact laser for no change. For the magazine, I'm using the straight mag, which gives me a 15 damage increase. Nothing crazy, but it is nice to have.
The funniest thing is that E-Rock actually asked for my opinion about his...
No sights at all, and I'm using the adjustable stock for 3 concealment increase.
You're my manager. You handle all my videos.
The AR muscle build. Inside this build we do bring an AR, which is the main weapon of choice. We grab full crits inside the build while we are pairing ammo bags so I never have to sacrifice my HP for ammo refills. We do grab the UAR rifle, which is pretty good and it has a lot of customizable options. We get the accuracy based setup with a damage increase as well, while pairing it with the quick reload mag, and it just seems to work really well with all the different options I have on here. I've got the side sight, I've got the actual red dot, and I've got the laser sight. We made the weapon to be versatile for long range, medium range, and close range engagements. While having a sight for distance shooting, we bring the side sight for close quarters battle as I just had mentioned, while we also have the hip fire accuracy increase for the laser. I get the 5.7 pistol mostly for a tool because it brings the ability to shoot through shields and comes in handy with shooting through walls at things like dozers or maybe hitting a bullseye to get armor regen through the wall, and then that will protect my HP from getting hit. I went for ammo bags as I mentioned just a little bit ago, and it helps mostly for just not having to give up my cover, which results in you not having to be put in a situation where you have to wait for HP to be regened to make a move. Now, let's get into the skills for the build here. I grabbed myself Hostage Taker while getting a HP buff from the Jokers, so that I have massive HP chunks. I grabbed myself Rifleman Ace so that I can zoom in a little bit farther, so when I'm using my red dot, it actually is zoomed in a little bit farther. I'm grabbing things like Bullseye for aggressive armor regen, Shock and Awe, and Resilience for the passive. Then I grabbed things like Body Expertise with Surefire, Steady Grip, and Lock and Load, while then pairing things like Inner Pockets Aced for concealment, while also grabbing things like Optical Illusions, Low Blow, and Unseen Strike for max crits. I do go ahead and grab things like High Value Target and the Professional because my secondary weapon is a pistol, so therefore I'm grabbing the Equilibrium so that my 5.7 gets pulled out a little bit quicker. As for the rifles here, obviously you can go choose the Lion's Roar, the Union and stuff like that, but I went ahead and went the UAR rifle route. I went for the long barrel, which has given me a 4+ accuracy and a 4+ stability, plus a damage increase. Then I went ahead and went for the Tactical Compensator for 12 accuracy increase. Then I went for the boost of concealment. I went for the small laser for no change. I do grab the polymer body, which gives me damage, accuracy, stability, and a concealment minus.
Ouch.
For the magazine, I do go for the quick mag. As I mentioned, we do go for the side sight for the concealment increase. I go for the red dot Seymour sight, purely optional. And that's it. As for the secondary pistol here, I guess you could run the revolver if you wanted to, but not really ideal. I go for the tin treated barrel for accuracy stability. I then went for the suppressor, this one for the accuracy increase. For the boost, I went for concealment.
Run.
As for the gadget, I go for micro laser for no change. For the magazine, extended mag because it doesn't change your concealment. And as for the sights, you have an option to put the no concealment sight on if you wanted, but I did not. The muscle shotgun build. We went with the old meta setup here being the ISMA and the Judge shotgun. The shotgun build is being the old meta and still performs really well with inside death sentence. Its biggest downfall is just range that it deals its damages. The primary shotgun is used for the majority of cops, while fighting dozers on the other hand, you gotta be careful with your ammo pool, because you may have it at the moment, but since dozers are showing up and dozers are attacking you, they will eat your ammo up like no one's business. You have group killing ability is next to none, essentially inside the shotgun build. If you're aiming down a hallway, you're hitting everything. And since I'm bringing Surefire with the buckshot spread, and since we are having a stack up of overkill damage, Zerk damage, and pairing it with crits, we have even more damage increase, and using Surefire, it allows us to deal big damage to these cops, even to the body. It'll rip their armor up. I grabbed the Judge with fire rounds to deal with shields mostly. It comes very handy with dealing with groups of cops. The Judge can hit snipers from across the map and still take them out. It doesn't have to have the instant fire burn anymore because that's just a nerf that Overkill has introduced. It is like a 14-meter burn now. But with that being said, you still deal enough damage to take out a sniper from that ranged, distance. Because they have 240 HP, you may be dealing more than 240 in that instance. We bring the secondary fire shotgun also, which is amazing to refill the primary ISMA. The fire shotgun can easily control crowds of enemies as well, which will allow you to have the freedom to move around the map and deal damage at any time. Now, let's go over the skills for the build here. I went for Combat Medic to get first aid kits so that I can have instant HP regen. I did grab myself a Partners in Crime and Hostage Taker for big chunks of HP regen. While then going for things like Overkill for my shotgun damage increase. While also grabbing things like Shock and Awe and Resilience for passive armor regen. And then I grabbed things like Bullseye for aggressive. while also pairing things like Surefire Ace to make my buckshot be armor pierce. Then I also went for 16 stability here, while also grabbing max crits inside the ghost skill tree, high value target for my dozers, and having inner pockets so that I can have 70 armor on a ballistic vest, and have it concealed. And that's it. As for the shotguns, you don't really have too many choices as for, automatic shotguns that are concealable. So ISMA shotgun, go for buckshot, you go for short barrel, which is a minus accuracy. That's what you're working for in a shotgun build, is minus accuracy. The next we went for the horizontal leveler, which is making my shotgun shoot flat instead of be like in a different, standpoint. Then go for the accuracy minus boost. While inside of the custom, I do auto fire for minus accuracy as well. I'm not too sure what this charging handle is since this is a new update. I'm trying to preview it, but it's not really showing me, so let's just go ahead and add it. Essentially, what I'm seeing is this is minusing accuracy, so it allows you to have more of a spread on your shotgun. I did not go for extra, I did not go for scopes, the hollow handle for concealment, the compact laser for concealment, and the AK wood grip for the stability so that we reach 100. And then I go for the Big Brother magazine for the 4 extra shots. Doesn't seem that good, but can be helpful. I didn't go for sights. I didn't really go for a skeletal stock. I went for the classic stock, which is giving me a stability of 12. Then lastly, there's a new upper receiver, which is minusing accuracy and giving a damage increase, so I might as well go for it. And then that right there will change a few bit of damage points, which overall isn't changing the build at all. Since my judge is the legendary skin here, I don't have much customizable options, but what I did do was use the Dragon's Breath rounds and make sure that my thing is concealed. The ICTV muscle build. A good LMG gunner is capable of controlling a group and staggering them, knocking them over, dealing enough damage to the cops to where they're rolling around on the ground, killing them, coming back to the cops that are grounded and finishing them off, and then doing this will make a difference in your survival when playing an LMG. Crowd control with an LMG is really good. You just need to target prioritize, position correctly, and effectively deal with the cops. You have panic too, so that can stop damage from being dealt to you and your teammates. While you can shoot your LMG at the cops and continuously trigger this panic, that's what the main source of it is. When you have 460 and pairing it with Hostage Taker inside of this build for 7.5 HP regen, if you take 225 damage, you just need to wait roughly 25 to 30 seconds and you'll get 225 HP back. This build is enough for a 4-shot total build. If you can survive 30 seconds inside muscle, you can consistently tank 225 damage, but as an average, you'll be able to take an armor shot and 2 shots of the HP, leaving you with 1 shot of HP to start regenning from. We get 2-shot armor inside this build from Quick Fix Ace, which makes the build be a 5-shot build, not counting the first aid kit's heal, not counting bullseye, and if we do count these things, it will change it to a 9-shot build, which is inside of muscle, a very, very tanky build. Now let's go over the skills for the build here. As I mentioned, I got Quick Fix Ace, so they're going to have 2-shot armor from the 10% damage reduction, with also getting first aid kits for instant HP regen. Then I go for Joker, Partners in Crime, and Hostage Takers so that I can have HP regen in big chunks. I then grab Stable Shot for the stability mostly, and the Snap to Zoom from Rifleman. I then grab Iron Man because, as I mentioned, we wanted to get 2-shot armor, so Iron Man is our method. We do grab Shock and Awe to stagger shields with the LMG, while also grabbing Resilience paired with it so that I can have more armor passive regen, while grabbing Bullseye for the aggressive armor regen. Then I grab things like Body Expertise, mostly for my damage on the LMG, grabbing things like Surefire, Lock and Load, and Steady Grip. Then grabbing things like the sprint skills because I'm in armor, and then grabbing things like high value targets so that if I do come across a dozer, I can deal some, a little bit more damage essentially. Now the actual KSP here, you can choose, the buzzsaw or the KSP in this scenario, but I went ahead and went for the KSP. I go for the long barrel for accuracy stability. I then go for the tactical compensator for 12 accuracy increase. Bipod because why not? For the boost, I went for accuracy increase. I went for the LED combo for the stability increases. And then for the stock, I go for the solid stock for 8 stability. As for the secondary here, you have a few choices of the 100 damage SMGs. I personally went for this one. I go for the tactical compensator for the 12 accuracy increase and the 1 damage increase. I then go for the accuracy increase for the boost. As for gadgets, I'm using the LED combo, stability increase. For the grips, I'm using the AK plastic grip for the 8 accuracy increase. You could technically go for a secondary sight here. I personally did not. As for the actual sight, I used the Seymour.
Where the last one is.
And there is a stock available now with the new update, so therefore you can place this on here, and it gives you more accuracy. So therefore it is a difference maker than what I was playing in the gameplay, but it doesn't make that much of a difference since it's only for accuracy. The Dodge Muscle build. This is an interesting setup here. We go for dodge inside of a 3-shot HP setup with natural HP regen and panic from the weapons. I go for the new 15 barrel gun, which has insane fire rate. Pairing this with the panic that the muscle deck brings, either you're going to make the cops panic / stagger or just die, or they will be dying in short bursts essentially. This setup promotes the running around and shooting style. You are capable of moving from different areas of the map by effectively aiming at the cops that are targeting you and positioning correctly to effectively survive inside of muscle. I had to bring a huge concealment gun so that we can get full crits inside of this build here. The pistol isn't anything special, it just helps me reach full crits. Since having 25% dodge, it is good to know that the 25% dodge can dodge 4 bullets in a row on a 1/256 chance of happening. With most heists being about 10 to 15 minutes long, with this in mind, if you have a 0.35 grace period, and if it's about 1 second equals 3 shots of 225, if 60 seconds have passed, that's possible 180 plus shots of 225 that could have happened. So in that scenario, if you could dodge 4 in a row over 256, but in a single minute you can get shot over 180 times, that's making something like that actually be brought to light that, hey, I can actually make use of this. As I just mentioned, if you are knowing that you can get a chance of 4 dodges in a row, and if you're playing around with this knowledge, it can come in handy when you're capable of knowing the probability of the chances and the possibility of what dodge value, and to be able to identify which probability chance that you're on. I know it's a little confusing, but essentially if you can actually get these numbers down, know the probabilities, chances, understand which probability chance that you're on, that's going to be the difference maker when playing a low dodge build like this, because it's not really a full focus dodge build. No, I'm more of a HP centered build, but I have something else called dodge in my build. Now let's get into the skills for the build here. I do grab combat medic with first aid kits for instantaneous HP regen, which is very helpful in the playstyle that is given here inside the dodge build. Now I do grab hostage taker with a partners in crime for big chunks of HP regen. Stable shot for stability. I grab aggressive armor regen and passive armor regen with shock and awe and resilience, and then bullseye. I grab body expertise since I'm, spraying sometimes at the enemies. Is definitely useful. I grab things like surefire, lock and load, and steady grip, while also grabbing things like crits, sneaky bastard aced, grabbing things like inner pockets and optical illusions to conceal my build, and then also having things like high value target. Now as for the weapons here, this is the new 15 barrel Hailstorm Mark V. I went ahead and put the version 1.4 barrel, which I believe is the smallest concealment, maybe without a suppressor though. Smallest concealment without a suppressor. We go for the accuracy and stability. Here I go for a concealment buff. Next, I went ahead and grabbed the FZRA grip for the concealment increase. Now, I'm pretty limited on what you can do here on this gun in particular, but that's all we have. And as for the secondary weapon here, we go for the Benetti 9 pistol. We use the standard issue suppressor. I then go for the +3 concealment. I go for micro laser for no change. I then grab the Bernetti engraved grips for the 4 stability. You go for the marksman sight for the accuracy increase. I then go for the elite slide for another stability increase. Now, I will mention for this same muscle dodge build, you can alternatively grab the Vulcan minigun, which if you do grab this, it actually is more concealed than the 15 barrel gun, which will allow you to have a different secondary, as you can see. I kept those guys alive so I could bullseye them, if you didn't notice, if anybody was wondering why not finish that heavy unit off and stuff. Well, I was using them to bullseye off of. It was obvious for survival terms. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you do actually try any of these builds, please let me know in the comment section below. If you were able to change anything to make them better, I'd like to hear it. Please leave me a like because I do appreciate it. If you will, sub to me as well. And make sure that you guys go and vote for the next best builds video here on my YouTube in the community section.